We are now talking to former MLB outfield Dodgers professional scout Greg Golson. What's going on, Greg?
Chilling, man. How you guys doing?
Well, I don't know about chilling. I mean, as a Yankee fan, well, it's actually beautiful out today. It's 70 degrees. I mean, how could you beat it? But as quick as it's 70 degrees, it'll probably pour down to 50 or 48. So I like the cold. I don't like this weather. I just don't like the switcheroo that it happens. But how are you over there traveling as a scout? What is it like going to one place to another with different weather patterns and all that other stuff?
Well, it's crazy. I was so I live in Denver, and then I did about a month of spring training coverage in Arizona last month. And between the frozen tundra and the desert, my nasal passage has been so dry. So I scheduled my first trip to be West Palm Beach to get a little humidity in there, and I'm already feeling better. So I'm loving it.
What a lucky guy. He's done scouting for spring training. So now he gets to go to West Palm Beach and hang out at the beach with his beautiful girlfriend, right? Your beautiful girlfriend?
Well, my wife's not coming. She's got a small business that she's doing. She does bridal stuff, so this is busy season for her. So try to squeeze in one weekend or so, but probably won't be able to during the season.
So she's in the entertainment field too, huh?
Well, you could call it entertainment, yeah. The bridal industry where summer is like when everyone's planning for their wedding. So this is like crunch
time. Oh yeah, I know. I'm a DJ. And I do that on the side, and I'm around all the bridal parties, sweet 16s, communion confirmations, you name it, I am. But anyways, let's get down to sports because that's why we have you on. Tell us a little bit about the offseason for the Dodgers, obviously adding Friedman. That was a big acquisition. What did you think of all the different acquisitions that they made, including the trade for Kimbrel?
I think we made a lot of good moves. Obviously losing Seager you can't really replace him. You can try to kind of pivot and do other things, but losing Kenley, losing Seager, I think I wouldn't say we're in a better position, but we're in just a strong position to make a run at this year especially with Freeman. I think our lineup having 4 former MVPs.
Yes.
It's kind of crazy thinking that you can fit all that into one lineup and it still be balanced. So that's interesting to I'm curious to see how the lineup does with a pitching staff that's pretty good, like who's going to carry who, but it's exciting. It'll be an exciting year.
So the Dodgers also loaded with young players too, 2 of the top 20 prospects in baseball last year. So what were some of your impressions on some of the young players they had last year? Gavin Lux, Dustin May, most notably, but even some of the other ones that came up.
That's something that a lot of people, when they see the high payroll of the Dodgers, they just assume that we go out and buy all the talent, but we're actually developing guys and, signing guys that, we've got to develop and maybe teasing a little bit of talent of that weren't getting realized in other areas. So, when you look at our younger guys like Lux coming up, guys that we traded away for big name guys like, Josiah Gray, you can definitely see that we've got something going on good at the lower levels. But also just being able to break in, like finding ways to get Lux at bats. That was really cool last year. And it's like, I personally wouldn't have put him in center field, having never played there, but we got to get that bat in the lineup, and he's probably going to be one of our more, I wouldn't say probably, but he's looking like he's going to be one of our more consistent hitters this year, having had that experience last year.
We are talking to former MLB outfielder and Dodgers professional scout, Greg Golson. So being a professional scout, obviously you get the opportunity to see a lot of great young players that are going to be coming up from all different organizations. And the Dodgers have been the leading team over the last couple of years with the prospects, as you said, Lux and Mays. So there's talent all around the league. What players that you have seen in the minor leagues that really has stood out to you over the last year and a half?
Coming from being a player to a scout, I had to kind of break myself of not disregarding, but kind of putting guys down. Like as a player, you've got this like macho, like, he's not as good as me type of thing, So I had a tendency to downplay guys' speed, downplay their arm, downplay a guy's fastball, downplay a breaking ball, because you're not going to hit a breaking ball if you're like, man, this is the best breaking ball I've ever seen. I had to break myself of that. But, looking at the Brewers, they got some really good outfielders coming up. And Sal Frelick, he was drafted out of Boston College last year. They've got a younger high school guy, Joe Gray Jr., that he's pretty good. Like, there's just a lot of good outfielders, I think, that are coming up through the Brewers. And then the Cardinals, they just always do a good job of developing talent. They've got solid infielders all the way around, pitching that, left-handed and right-handed. It's just kind of interesting to see how different orgs develop their guys and what they prioritize. And you can definitely see it after seeing them for 2 to 3 years.
So last year's American League MVP was Shohei Ohtani, a two-way player. And there's been a lot of them that have come up in other minor league systems. We've seen Brett Honeywell, Hunter Green now this year with the Reds. Is that something that you think will be a modern trend? And are there any guys that you could see in the Dodgers organization being that kind of two-way player?
I don't know. I mean, it takes a special player to be able to do that, just balancing it. I mean, there's a reason why it doesn't happen very often. Ohtani is 6'5"? Like, he's a giant human, so it's easier for him to produce more force. But if you're looking at a guy that's a normal size, normal height, it's going to be hard for him to have that durability to pitch and hit, because either one is tormenting on the body over the course of a full season. But I haven't seen anybody with the Dodgers that can do that. Lucas Erceg with the Brewers, he got drafted as a hitter, but he pitched in college. And last year they transitioned him into a pitcher, still wanting him to hit a little bit. And he touched 100 this year in spring training with a sinker and a 92-mile-an-hour slider. So I don't know. It's going to be hard for them to let him hit when he's doing that on the mound. So I think that's the challenge you're going to have when someone is outpacing one side or the other. Like, they've kind of got to be superstars on both sides of the plate in order for them to be able to do it,
We are talking to former MLB outfielder and Dodgers professional scout Greg Golson. We talk about the Yankees a lot over here because we're here in New York, and we obviously the Mets. The Yankees have a great young prospect, top 10 prospect right now, Volpe, who everybody is talking about, and this kid could very much be in a top 3 prospect by the end of this season. What are your thoughts with this kid, and what do you think? What thoughts of some of the young players the Yankees have in their farm system?
I don't cover the Yankees, so I don't know very much about them. I know that the Yankees, they have a very particular way of developing guys, and they kind of have them on a schedule going up. So, as far as how their system is developing, I'm not sure. I haven't watched the Yankees in a couple years.
So why don't we get you a job with the Yankee? How's that sound? I mean,
can't comment on that right now, being under the Dodgers. But.
I know, I'm messing around. Well, they always say that, you go from scout and then eventually assistant GM and then a GM. That's why you're a scout. You're learning the game. You're seeing the game in your eyes as a player and as an ex-athlete. And then you slowly but surely move up the rankings. So just remember us when you become a general manager, because we know the game just as much as anybody does with the wars and the analytics. We know the game just as well as anybody, but we love you as we always talk about that. We're very happy to have you on.
Appreciate it. Hey, I'll definitely remember you guys if that opportunity ever presents itself.
So this offseason, obviously chaotic with the lockout and the battle with the players and the owners. Do you have any connections within the MLB players organization? And if so, what were some of the main things that they were pushing for and what they ultimately ended up getting?
During the offseason, I was kind of swamped with writing reports that I didn't get to because of the COVID kind of changed. Everyone was up and down. If there was an injury at this level, they'd move a guy up. So I missed quite a few guys as far as getting to see them in person. So just kind of getting in all the work that I'd missed. But as far as the lockout, I don't really know if there was much negotiation back and forth until spring training started. So a lot of the info that you guys were hearing was the exact same stuff I was hearing as far as how they were doing and what people were wanting. Obviously, when you hear stuff through the grapevine, it's a little bit extremist or a little bit exaggerated, but just kind of seemed like there was a lot of people that didn't realize it was a lockout. They thought it was a strike. And I think that kind of changed how it was perceived by the public. A lot of people thought it was spoiled players, wanting this or that, or whatever the reason. They were just kind of misguided because of how, it was, I guess, perceived by the public that it was another strike as opposed to a lockout.